everybody, and welcome to the Mighty Matt podcast. I'm your host, Matt Sterling. I'm delighted to be joined by my new friend, Melanie Filardo. I was introduced to Melanie by one of my old pals from my Time Inc. days, Lisa Bentley. Lisa's got a lot of energy, and she's always been a dear friend of mine. So anyone who is a friend of Lisa's is a friend of mine. So Melanie, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Happy to be here.
Oh, that's
Doing
great
good.
news. So, I always try to kick these off by saying to overcome anything in life requires great strength. Um, when did you become mighty?
Let's see. It's been so long. It's already been 17 years, which I can't
Wow.
believe sometimes. It still feels like 5 years, to be honest. But
Sure.
this was back in August of 2008. So I
Okay.
was diagnosed transverse myelitis, just swelling in the spinal cord. Yeah, before my 21st birthday. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, how did this new disability affect your thought process at the time in terms of what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was hard. I wasn't sure what the future was going to hold, where I was going in life. As you had mentioned, I was just barely starting life. College, I was in college, working at the bank and, just trying to get my footing, right? It was hard the very first, I want to say 3 years, just trying to understand what my spinal cord injury was
Sure.
and where I was going with it or what type of future was I going to have.
And
It's
you mentioned that you were at the bank. Were you working at a bank and
as a
sort of
teller,
had to
as a teller.
adjust? You were as a teller.
Yeah.
So did you have to
Yeah.
adjust the way you approach that job with the new sort of set of challenges you had?
To be honest, I didn't go back to work.
Okay.
It was hard accepting what my disability was and not being able to walk again, right? There's always
Sure.
that question mark of, am I going to be able to walk again, or accepting what
Right.
was going on. So
And
I always have
who did
said,
you have those conversations with? Did you have a therapist that you were working with, a rehab therapist, or your family?
I mean, I was going to outpatient rehab. I was taking it all internally. I was a bit
Yeah.
stubborn, probably still am, to be
Sure.
honest. But, it was hard. And then once I started to coming a bit more into the acceptance of understanding my
Yeah.
injury in general, I started speaking to a therapist outside of that. So,
That's great.
it's harder to speak to family at the time because they're also in question, right? Like, what is this?
Absolutely.
How long is this going to be? Is this lifelong? Is it not?
Yeah.
So, but fast forward to now, here I am. So,
That's great. Now, yeah, I kind of
yeah.
want to get into your journey or your path to where you are now because I really just had heard of exobionics through Lisa. I had never heard of it until now. So tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about how you
So,
started to learn about the organization.
yeah, I actually met them through outpatient rehab. So I live in the Bay
Cool.
Area. I met them at Santa Clara Valley Med Hospital. My outpatient therapist at the time, was like, hey, do you want to try this device and this exoskeleton? And I was like, what are you talking about? What is this thing? Is this
Yeah,
like,
this is next
what
level, right?
Right. Like, I'm not even sure, was Iron Man the movie out at the time in 2010? It was outpatient rehab, so it was 2010. I don't even remember if it was. So with that being said,
Now,
that's kind of
will you describe to people that are listening what exactly it is? Because I've seen the videos, but
right. Yeah, so it's an exoskeleton like suit almost. So the first device I used was called the Exobionics like GT. That was the
okay.
version of it at the time.
Yep.
So getting into this device, it's literally like Iron Man suit, right? But with suspenders, I would say. I call them
Okay.
suspenders. So yeah, that's the best way I could explain
Yeah.
it as, newly injured 2 years in, right?
Right.
I still call that newly injured. And I'm like, what is this thing? She's like, we have one in here at the hospital. Like, do you
Okay.
want to try it out? And the company ended up coming out as well. So I'm barely 130 1 pounds, I think, like,
Yeah.
at the time, or probably still currently. I'm like, "Is this thing gonna be able to hold me up?" And by the way, I was on a tether, the tether that holds the device up.
Okay.
So, if God forbid something were to happen, right?
You
Like,
don't
that
fall
tether's
over,
gonna
right?
hold me. And by the way, there were 10 PTs around. I think there were
Okay.
10,
So people
maybe
are
7 or
around
8.
you.
There was no way I would have been in danger, but still, right?
Yeah.
As someone who doesn't know anything at the time of
Right.
exoskeletons, machines in general,
Yeah.
this thing gonna hold me up? Can I trust the device?
Yeah.
I know I could trust my PT, but still, there's
Yeah.
that bit of anxiety and overwhelming
Absolutely.
situation at the time that just comes in the territory of someone with an injury, right? Like,
Sure.
so I'm like, okay, I guess.
And
Like,
so what initiates the movement to, because
so there's
if you're,
sensors.
so
Yeah, there
when
are
you lean
sensors
a
at the
certain
front.
way, then it knows you're
Right.
trying to stand up.
It's gonna initiate the step.
Okay.
So, but like I said, it's being able to trust
Yeah.
yourself, trust the people around you, and trust the device, right?
Sure.
So, it's just, it comes at that, to get over that hill of the anxiety of that and the overwhelming process of everything.
Absolutely.
So,
Now, when you first
yeah.
started, you had a walker to stand up with,
Yeah.
and that
A
would kind of
walker,
give you a little bit
definitely.
of a balance.
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
because technically I'm a quadriplegic, so
Right.
my injury level started at a C5, I'm probably about a C7 now,
Wow. Okay.
so
Sure.
yeah, yeah,
And
so
then, so you were mentioning to me when we had talked before that it runs
yeah.
off of an app kind of on your phone.
This is the other device. So
It's a new
this is
device. Okay.
the device that I currently have now is called our Exo Indigo.
Yep.
So this is the one that you can use like with a support person. So my support
Okay.
person is my mom. She
Sure.
was trained to be able to be my like safety person as well,
Yeah.
right? So if something were to happen, that at least there's someone around versus like the other device that I had first used back in 2010, the Exo GT. That's only able to be used in, like, hospitals and facilities
I
with
see.
physical therapists,
I
yeah.
see. Okay.
So, now the Exo Indigo that we have is with a support person you can use at home.
Wow.
So, yeah, at home or out in the community, I've walked
Yeah.
with it outside a couple times, which is, I'm more of a careful walker. I'm not like
Sure.
I won't,
Sure.
and that just comes with the territory, as I
Yeah.
mentioned. I'm careful in general.
Absolutely.
You won't see me popping wheelies anywhere, that's for sure. Even in my wheelchair, I will not pop
That's
wheelies.
right.
Going over these little thresholds, I'm, like, carefully, like, going over them, and I'm still thinking, like, "Wait a minute,
Hey,
this is a little too
I
high off
hear
the
you.
ground."
I hear you.
So, yeah, but, but walking with my mom, like, she was trained,
Sure.
to be my support person. And yeah, as mentioned, the settings of the device is run through an app, our Exo Indigo app. So, yeah, and that you put all the settings in there and then whatever is needed to like take steps for sensors and stuff too.
Now,
Yeah.
are you using this? What percentage of the day would you say you're using exoskeleton?
I use it, of course, like everybody's injury is different, right? If you, whatever spinal cord injury you may have,
Sure.
or what type of paralysis you may have. So it's like I'll use it like when I'm feeling really good, right? I have a lot of energy, I'm feeling good, which I tend to, most of the day. But I try to shoot for 2 to 3 times a week using it,
Okay.
and then adding, so I live in an apartment building, it has long hallways from
Yep.
end to end. And when I'm with my mom, she's like pushing me. So let's say if I use it on a Monday, right? Let's say on a Monday I do 900 steps. That's a pretty
Okay.
good amount for someone that's not walking,
Sure.
every
Yeah.
day, right?
Right.
So I'll use it again, let's say Wednesday. My mom is pushing like take another lap. And I'm like, "Mom, I'm tired." She's like, "No, you can do it. You can
All
do
right.
it."
Yeah.
I love my mom. She's that type of person. She like wants the best for me in a safety way, right? Like in a
Absolutely.
safe way, of
Absolutely.
course. But she knows like I can do it. Like, she will push me
Yeah.
to get there to do it. So,
Now, what are
it's
some of
great.
the benefits that the physicians have talked about that using this type of adaptive equipment bring to someone that, like me, I'm in a wheelchair 100% of the time. If
Yeah.
you were to introduce something like this, what does it help? with
Well, I can speak from my
physiologically?
experience from what I've noticed from using it. So, I have an incomplete injury. I can feel, like, not 100%, but I can
Yep.
feel differences, right?
Sure.
I've noticed, like, with blood circulation, like, I'll notice it the next day, my legs just feel different. They feel more normal, so it feels like
Wow.
as if I were touching my face. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
feel a bit more heavy because I can feel that more normalness versus, like, on a day if I didn't walk, or
Yeah.
even, let's say, if I didn't use it for a week, I'll just feel the nerve pain that I usually get, and I'll have to
Yeah.
take the medication, right? I take medication in general for nerve pain
Yeah.
and spasticity. So, but with that being said, like, I notice the differences in feeling from when I'm, like, walking in the device, and that will carry on for a few days, which is
Wow.
great, you know? So
Yeah,
there's
that's
definitely
great.
the blood circulation, the sleep I get, and even getting in the device, I'm thinking I'm running in it, right? Because I
Yeah.
sweat. And that's
Okay. And so it's
like a
like a
good sweat.
workout
I
kind
can
of.
tell I'm working out.
Yep.
It's not autonomic dysreflexia. I know the difference between that. Let's not get that twisted, because I
Yeah, yeah.
can sweat in that sense too when
Yep.
I'm getting that autonomic dysreflexia. But I notice the difference as my heart rate is getting
Wow.
up there. Because for people with wheelchairs, you have to find different ways to get that exercise and get your heart rate
Yeah,
going, right? And they
exactly.
don't talk about this enough when you're, whether inpatient or outpatient,
Yep.
or well, that's outpatient rehab, but inpatient as in what carries on after, right?
Sure.
Like, I'm also a type 1 diabetic. I have to watch out for all those things
Right.
and get the exercise where I can get it, because they don't talk about your heart and the
Yeah.
blood circulation, calcifications, and all that,
Right.
like, from not being able to walk or stand, right? You
Yep.
know? So,
Yeah, so it has to benefit all of those things. And when you're in the exoskeleton, you're initiating the movement and then the exoskeleton is enhancing it? Is that how it
correct.
works?
It's taking over. So it depends on how much support is needed, right? Depending on
Yeah.
the type of paralysis. For someone like me, I can't bear any type of weight on my own. So it's doing, like, if not all the work for me, but still it's me and trying to initiate that step to get it to move, for that sensor. So whatever
Sure.
the settings are in that.
Yeah. Now, what has it enabled you to do more easily that you couldn't do before?
I wanna say I noticed the difference in my energy levels and the stamina. I wanna say that. Like,
Okay.
I noticed the positive sides from all that for having more energy. Like, I take my wheelchair in and out of the car, like, when I have to go somewhere, if I don't have help doing it, right? And thankful to my mom, she helps me with that sometimes too. So,
Sure.
but with that being said, I have been paying more attention, like, especially with using the device, on what has come a bit more easier for me that wasn't
Yep.
before. And I don't,
Yeah, sure.
it's funny that you mention it now because I think about it, and it's definitely, like, more so my stamina for sure.
Sure.
Because, just throughout the day, having to push your chair around, it's tiring.
Yeah, it is.
And depending how long you've been in a wheelchair, right? You don't think about these small things at the time, but I've noticed my
No,
stamina has been a bit more, like, energetic in that sense. So, that's always a
that's
positive.
great. And
I'll take it
how long
anywhere.
do yeah, yeah, absolutely. And how
Yeah.
long does the charge last?
It depends how much it's used. So it just, if you're using it every day, even for an hour or so, I would want to charge it
Yeah,
right after. Yeah.
but you've never run out of a
So
charge.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe if I'm trying to walk a lot, like, if it were my mom, the charge would probably run
She'd
out with
have you
me
walk,
walking.
she'd
She'll probably keep, "Hey,
Mateo.
keep walking, you can do it." So, no.
Jeez. So
Yeah.
what are some of your roles? I know you've been working as an ambassador, for ESCO, but, what
Yeah,
are some of the things you do?
I also help manage our ambassador program. So our other people that
Cool.
have used the device, yeah,
Yep.
I help manage them for demos that they may do for us. Yeah, there's that, and then also now I'm coming into, like, the ambassador role of doing some of that as well, with demoing the device as well.
That's great. And is it available just in the United States or around the world or
It's around the world too, so, we
oh,
have
wow,
our Asia team, yeah, also that, pushes out the Indigo as well and the XONR, so, we're not just, here in the US, so yeah.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Now I kinda wanna get to know what you're doing for fun beyond EXO and,
So
testing out the skeleton. What do you do for fun?
my fun, honestly, I like to bake. I love to watch sports and stuff.
Ooh,
Bay Area born, Warriors are back in. Our first game
there
was
you
actually
go, a little
last
Steph
night.
Curry action.
I'm like, that gets my heart rate going too. So,
Good, good,
I like
good.
to watch sports and bake and cook and stuff like that. That actually brings me a bunch of joy. So,
Nice. What's your favorite thing to cook?
spaghetti. So,
Delicious.
yeah,
I
my
just made it
grandpa's
the other night.
Italian. Yeah, I have a little bit of Italian in me. So,
Now, here's another odd question. Because you're out there, you're in public in your exoskeleton, in your wheelchair. What are some of the weirdest questions that you've gotten from random strangers?
I mean, the only thing is sometimes it's how it's asked. There's always that, and I don't know if I'm being too sensitive sometimes, but it's kinda like, "Oh, what happened to you?"
Yep.
You're young, like, I'm not young anymore. I have a birthday coming up on Friday, by the way, so I don't feel
Happy
young
birthday in
anymore.
advance. You're very young.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But with that being said, it's how it's asked sometimes, right? Like, "What happened to you? Why are you in the wheelchair?"
Yeah.
If I'm being asked, like, "Oh, what happened?" I'm like, "Do I even wanna tell you? You don't seem so sincere." Like, then I think about it like, "Am I being too sensitive? I don't think I am."
No, no, no. But
So,
it is. It's kind of like, there are different ways to ask that question that
hey,
it
like,
doesn't
you're
sound like an
yeah.
accusation.
Yeah, more empathetic and sincere, right?
Exactly.
Like, you're really wanting to know what happened versus like,
Yeah.
"Oh, why are you in a wheelchair? You're, like, a young girl." It's like, I don't know if that's the stigma of seeing older people in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah. You
Which
never know where
I
these
would
things come
probably
from.
think so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
possible. That's possible.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so here's another interesting question. I were to clone you, and there were two Melanies in front of me, and I were to ask you one question to determine which was the real Melanie. What would I ask you?
who are you? Yeah.
Who
Who
are
are
you,
you?
and what would your response be?
And I would tell them, I am Melanie and I am someone with a lot of grit and will and positivity and empathetic. I have a lot of empathy for people with disabilities, understanding what it is now because of my
I love it.
own situation. So
Yeah, your
that
experiences
would be the
informed you in a
clone.
way. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, you'd be a much more empathetic Melanie than the other one.
For sure, because if you were to ask me that prior to my injury, I was a different person. Not a bad one, but just someone who didn't understand what a disability was, right? Or for
I
people
think
that have them.
that's a very interesting point, and one that I want to reemphasize is that having been disabled midway through your life, not midway, but early on,
Mhm,
you have a more empathetic appreciation for a different position in life. And I think
mhm,
that's what most people need to understand and learn, just in general, is to have more empathy for someone else's position. Because you don't know
right.
until you're sitting in their seat or standing in their shoes. I think that that is what we all could use a little bit more of these days.
I 100% agree with you, Matt, because empathy, that is a very, very strong word that a lot of people don't understand because
Absolutely.
all they want is a bit of understanding in
Yeah.
everyone's life. Everybody's going through something, and I don't mean just having a disability, but just
No.
everybody's going through something. As you
Yep.
mentioned, whether sitting or standing or whatever the case may be, it's just we all want to be heard in a empathetic way. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And my final thing is, are the Warriors going to go all the way?
Yes, they are. I will always say yes. They are, and so will the Niners. So
There
will
we
the
go, and the
Niners.
Niners too. That's
There we
great.
go.
Well, thank you
You
so
know,
much, Melanie, for taking the time. And
of course, my
I'm
pleasure.
sure I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I hope you'll click like and subscribe so you can meet the mighty.